It's that time of year again. It's the 13th day of the month, and it lands on a Friday, and that means we get to talk about a special franchise. As today, we're going back to the beginning, as we're talking about 1980s Friday the 13th.
Your host, Parker, Dan, and Angela, slice and dice their way through the good.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
The bad.
You brought the devil!
That's the devil inside our room.
And the ugly movies you love.
And you can't piss on hospitality. I won't allow it!
Hold your favorite films and franchises tight, because they aren't safe. In fact, it's already too late. It's time to dissect that film.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Dissect That Film, a podcast that dissects the good, the bad, and the ugly of cinema. I am your host, Brett Parker. Joining me, as always, my wonderful co-host, Dan and Angela of DNA Gaming.
Hello.
And joining us for the very first time, and I am so excited to have him here, we have the I'm going to call them the camp counselors of Dewey Lake. They're the hosts of the Dewey Podmonster. We have John and Sean. Welcome to the show.
Hola, thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us. Thank you for recognizing
yes,
Dewey Lake as a proper campsite and whatnot.
Again, it was in my head that was going to be part of it, and I'm glad that I remembered to say it. But I am so excited to have you guys here for the very first time. Of course, I'm a big fan of your show and pretty much everything you do. And so to get you guys on your very first episode on Dissect That Film to talk about a Friday the 13th movie was a perfect fit, you know, because
Feels like kismet.
I know John is obsessed with the Friday the 13th franchise, but Sean, what about you? Where do you sit with this franchise?
I think I kind of relate to what you said in the pre-show. I mean, I know of the movies. Obviously, I've seen. I don't think I've even seen all of them, to be honest with you. So, but I've seen the first like 4 a lot and 8 a bunch, and then that's. I mean, you know, I've seen the other
Sean
ones.
Just
maybe
said he's seen the first 4, and then he's seen 8 a bunch.
Oh yeah. That's
Man,
the
people love
right?
Takes Manhattan. People love it, and I don't know. I can't wait to revisit that one someday and see what the love that everyone has for it. Because if anyone has listened to our episode where we went through the entire franchise and ranked them, I was not nice to that movie. Not nice at all. But that was a long time ago.
Yeah, well, we watched it again, and it doesn't. It just gets worse. In my opinion, I love these movies, but poor 8.
I stand by what I've said about these movies a million times, and this particular one is maybe the exception, but it has Jason in it, so it's still better than 99% of the rest of the movies that are out there.
That's fair.
That's true.
And he punches a man's head off.
He does.
Yeah, he does. And he punts a boombox. So
He does.
The only part that actually is in New York.
Yeah,
that's true.
Gotta love it.
Oh, and the druggy scene in the opening credits.
Yes. Oh, well, you got to stop talking about part 8. We're talking about the original today. But before we do that, whoever wants to sell their show, what is the Dewey Podmonster?
that's probably my job. So we're a show that's based on consumption. So we talk about pretty much everything. We don't like to be painted into a corner, but we tend to focus a lot on horror movies, shitty movies, B movies. It seems like movies come up more than anything else, but every now and then we'll dip our toes into an album or something like that. Since this is Friday the 13th, if you want more Friday the 13th, we also have a Friday the 13th episode out today, which will be focusing on part 4. So if you're, you can find that wherever you get podcasts, or you can go to runpodcast.com or a network member there. So all of our stuff's on there. And then you can go to our rinky dink site, which is crap.town, where it will also be up on there. So
one of the greatest domains to ever exist.
Yeah, that was kind of an
I didn't think it was real the first time.
So, I didn't either. Then Sean proved me wrong.
I was extremely confused when you explained your show, and you're like, it's about consumption. I was like, tuberculosis? I was really confused. I was like, all right. But carry on.
But Sean, well, no, we already talked to Sean on his history with this franchise. Jesus Christ. This might happen a couple times. I apologize. John, what is your history with the original Friday the 13th?
I don't remember like what order I saw these movies in initially, but this is the franchise that's my favorite slasher franchise. Like Jason's my favorite slasher guy, so I have a long history of loving these movies. And for whatever it's worth, I'm sure we'll get into this, but it's maybe a hot take. Pamela might be the more scary killer of the two, even though Jason's the more effective and more fun killer. This one might be the creepier, like big bad out of all the Friday the 13th movies. So this one has a little nugget to look forward to in that.
Yeah, this is a movie that you could, of course, we always do Friday the 13th movies on Friday the 13th, but this is a perfect Mother's Day movie as well.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like, if for any other podcasts out there that are listening, if you need an idea for a Mother's Day episode, Friday the 13th, just put it on your list.
Pairs well with Psycho. Double feature.
So, Shaw, do you have do you remember like the first time you ever watched this one?
I can tell you it wasn't the first movie of the series that I saw, but I don't know when I saw it. When I was in college, we went, and this will age me a little bit, but we went to the video store and rented VHS tapes. So we would rent, all these different shitty movies. So that's part of where the love of shitty movies came from. But this was, I think we probably watched, I don't know, maybe 4 first and then went backwards. So I couldn't tell you when the first time I watched this was.
For anyone here, was it just one of those things like someone told you like, hey, the first one doesn't have Jason in it, so maybe don't watch that one first? Was that kind of like the case?
I think for me it was definitely, that one doesn't have Jason in it, so you can just skip it. It's fine. It's probably not that good. Doesn't have Jason.
I always screw up picking videos based off the cover on the box art in the video store. So I probably went to either part 3 or part 4 first because I like the cover art on it a lot more. So the cover art on this one's good, but it's not
dope.
Yeah, I mean,
this is the Steelbook 4K, by the way. Companies who just want to make cool Steelbooks, just put the original covers on them because this is dope.
Please.
Yes,
yeah, it's fucking.
And
sweet.
then on the back. It's a dope steelbook. Keep going.
I don't remember where I was going with that, but no, I know this wasn't the first one I saw either, but it's probably just that I probably gravitated to a different cover because I really like the cover of part 4, or I really like the 3D gimmick in part 3. So one of those was probably the first one that I watched, but I don't remember which one for sure was first.
Angela, do you remember the first time you saw this movie?
No. I don't even remember if it was the first one I watched, but I know we've watched it. Probably can't count on my hands and feet how many times we've watched it.
You guys watched it on stream,
yeah.
Along with I think the first 4 you guys streamed like our first year doing the podcast.
Titties and all, we didn't give 2 shits.
Like fuck you, Twitch. We're showing titties.
Yeah, hell yeah.
We streamed the one with the lady walking through the
Oh, Hell of the Living Dead.
Yeah.
She's topless for like 30 minutes. We had to like disable the stream. Like, guys, we'll tell you when the boobs stop. Like, it's not over, I promise you. And it just goes, it goes.
Almost 10 minutes.
Thank you, Italian horror.
Yeah. We don't care.
Does Twitch get mad about that? We have a Twitch account, but I don't think we've ever used it.
If you're an affiliate, so if you have a way of getting paid through them, they make more of a bigger deal. Like they would probably suspend the account. But if like our account is not affiliated, so it's like who gives a fuck?
What if we, I don't know if this is the thing because I don't pay attention to Twitch. What if we, while the scene was going where she was topless, what if we put the TV in a hot tub? Could we get away with that? Because I know that was the thing. Remember the hot tub streams you could do? You could just get away with
we just categorize it as a hot tub stream?
Yeah, and just drop the TV in a hot tub.
It's always worth the try, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't hurt. It's all fun and games till somebody gets electrocuted.
No, we just next time we do that, we just have to try to work on it where I literally have to just take the cameras and just put them over the tits and then just to kind of like work the mouse to follow it. It's like a game.
Oh shit!
Like its own game.
Yeah. Like
it's like the old Jackass episodes where they would have the black box following the dick and then it would just peer off and all of a sudden you're still seeing it like near the end of the scene.
It's still there, guys.
Yeah.
The dude had the hardest job.
I thought he nailed it because, yeah, exactly. Just give up, make it funny. So,
Dan, what's your What's your history with this one?
Not my first. That was part 6.
Damn.
It was at some point, my cousin and I just watched it. Like, we just went through all of it because I was very late to getting into horror movies. People on the show know I'm just not a horror movie guy. I wasn't one growing up. And there's a lot of judgment, like, over here, like a shit ton. I could just feel it. Anyway, but no, it was just one of those things. Like, I always knew it was Pamela, like, the whole time. Like, it was the same thing. It was like, it's, not Jason, whatever. But, like, my cousin would let's just turn these on and watch them. Because, like, he got me into, like, 6. Like, just watch it. You'll like it. And, like, when they did the USA marathons, where they'd, like, just do all the Friday the 13th movies and shit like that, on, like, pretty much every Friday the 13th. That was it. Like, we would just sit down and bomb through them. Like, oh, these on. We'd just watch, like, 2 or 3 of them in a row. And it was in that mess somewhere around.
Why did I feel like when they did Friday the 13th marathons, they would skip this one for some reason? They were just like,
sometimes they would.
This wasn't have Jason in it, so nobody's gonna give a shit.
But either just part 5, but it's got the enchiladas.
Yeah, but at least there's still the hockey mask, and people think it's Jason. Stupid shit like that. For me, I was a weirdo who needed to watch things from the beginning. So, like, I remember starting off with Nightmare on Elm Street. I had to go through all of those first, and I think the Friday movies were the second series that I had gone through, and I had to start from 1. So, of course, I'm watching it, and it was a time where, like, people who had watched the movie would go around talking about it, but I didn't have any friends or anybody who had seen the movie, so I wasn't spoiled on the ending. So I went into it knowing about Jason, though. So I was expecting Jason to be the killer in this movie, and then I get to the end, and I'm just like, what the hell is this? And then number 2, and on, I was like, okay, this is more my speed. So 1 was never the one that I liked at all. I think it was one of those ones I just watched. I was like, I don't know if I'm ever going to watch that again. It's just not that interesting. And because 2 and on were way more interesting because the kills were cooler. Jason was there. And, just the stories, as I put in air quotes, because these movies don't have much of stories, but or plot, as I should say. But yeah, it was one of those ones like, yeah, it's fine. It's a cool slasher in the vein of Halloween, which literally is just a Halloween clone if you think about it. Which was Sean S. Cunningham's kind of whole thing behind making this movie,
which he will never admit to now. Miller will admit to it, but Cunningham won't.
Yeah, it now isn't the whole dispute between Cunningham and Miller.
Yeah,
okay.
And honestly, like, with all due respect for a guy who created a franchise I love, he needs to just, like, fuck off and die or something, because he's at the point, like, he's the reason why you're not getting anything more from this franchise now. So
which one? Cunningham.
So until that's, like, they just announced the TV show all over again this week. I'm like, yeah, well, I'll believe it when it's actually here and we can physically, or they have that new Jason universe thing, which is dumb, but I'll watch it or whatever. And it's the same thing. Like, until Cunningham's gone or, like, not able to argue with them anymore, it's going to be the same bullshit over and over again. So
yeah, it's so weird because on the Blu-ray, I watched the special features and they had their own special feature that's just about Sean S. Cunningham. And the fact that he is, like, in this documentary, which I think came out in, like, 2013, 2014, he was just like, yeah, I don't really care that they made sequels. I didn't want to make sequels because it was kind of a one and done thing. I didn't really care. So, he was getting money for it anyways. And he's just like, yeah, do whatever they want to do. And then you later hear that he's the one that's stopping things from happening. It's like, well, what the hell happened to that guy? Like, what's going on? You were going to make more money from it. So why are you stopping this?
It's one place where you could always, I was about to say that Carpenter gets so much credit for that. He's just like, do whatever the hell you want, just pay me, and I'll come back and play keyboard for a couple hours.
Yeah, it's like, as long as I get a check in my hand, I don't give a shit what you do. Like,
right.
And we all know how the Halloween franchise has gone. But yeah, so Sean S. Cunningham directed this movie, and he was pretty much looking at Halloween success and going, let's just make a movie like that. And so he got with, originally he was going to write this with Wes Craven because he was friends with Wes Craven at the time. And Wes went on to do other things.
He was porn industry.
Yes.
Hell yeah, baby.
Sean S. Cunningham actually he helped write Last House on the Left. So they worked together on a couple movies, and I love it because we were watching the movies that made us episode on this, and they talk about that, and my wife just looks at me because we watched one of the first movies that we had watched when we started going out was the remake, and it's not a movie I recommend you watch with a girl that you just started dating within the last few months. Don't do it.
Neither is the original. So.
No.
That's what I've heard.
It's worse. It's worse because it's just, oh god, yeah, those movies are gross. But yeah, so they had ideas, and the fact that he just wanted to kind of make a Halloween clone, and unfortunately Wes was doing his own thing, so we got with Victor Miller. They wrote this script. Well, they didn't even write the script. They did everything else before the script was even there. They literally cast people. They got the location down. He was able to get the financing for the movie, and then everything was all said and done. And they're like, what about the script? Oh yeah, I got to write that. So they wrote it. It didn't take them long to write it because, as I stated before, these movies do not have much of a plot. And when they do make plots to these movies, sometimes they add shit that doesn't make any sense. But this is the beginning, so this one sort of makes sense. I want to shout out Harry Manfredini because his music is iconic, but also sounds like other music that you heard before. So like it very much sounds like a little bit of Psycho, and a lot of music that kind of was coming out in horror movies in the 70s. But when I was listening to, especially the scene where Annie gets killed, I was like, man, did who wrote the music for Reanimator? Can't remember. But it sounds very much like the Reanimator soundtrack, even though it came out like 5 years later. I was like, boy, these composers, did they all just hang out? They're just like, hey, man,
sure.
I'm gonna use.
There was a bar. They just all went to it.
I use a little bit of that music in this one. I need something. I just don't feel like doing anything original, so I'm just gonna.
Give me a few bucks, you can have it.
Yeah.
All right, sounds good.
I mean, originality doesn't make money. There's 12 of these movies for a reason.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly.
Well, they stayed the course for a lot of them, and then sometimes, brain slugs were involved. But that's beside the point.
We're all for good brain slugs, so.
Oh, right.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I always forget about that.
I wish I did too.
As for the cast, we have Adrienne King as Alice. We have Harry Crosby as Bill, Janine Taylor as Marcy, Laurie Bartram as Brenda, Kevin Bacon as Jack, Mark Nelson as Ned, the shittiest character in this movie, Robbie Morgan as Annie, Peter Brower as Steve Christie, Rex Everhart as the truck driver, the voice of Maurice from Beauty and the Beast. I always got We've talked about it before, but I always have to shout that out because I'm always listening for it. I'm like, it's there, right? And it's like, no, it's not. It doesn't sound like him. Ron Carroll as Sergeant Tierney. Was that the cop that he talks to? Like, that brings him to back to the camp? Yeah, okay. Dude, and Walt Gorney as Crazy Ralph.
Walt, my personal hero.
There's information that I find out in my latest watch that I went, huh? But we'll get to it. We get through the plot. And then the last couple is Betsy Palmer as Mrs. Voorhees and Ari Lehman as Zombie Boy Jason. He is a zombie. I don't care what people say. He's a zombie in this movie.
Zombie Boy Jason.
Yeah. So if you guys are ready, I'm ready to get through the plot of Friday the 13th. You guys ready?
Dude, don't do that shit. A lot of these movies have plots. Don't just target this. Come on. He's just angry because we're not doing Nightmare on Elm Street. Like, we just shit on this.
What are you talking about? This was planned.
I'm just fucking with you.
This wasn't a spur of the moment episode. Then I was like, oh, fuck. Why did I spend $25 on that awesome steelbook on Friday the 13th? Fuck this movie.
I didn't get a chance to razzle you this morning. I have to do it now.
All right.
I know the plot's a paragraph long, but go ahead.
Actually, somehow I have 5 pages, so I don't know how that works.
That's your fault.
I'm too technical.
I think there's 5 pages of dialogue in this movie.
I was going to say, I don't think the script is 5 pages.
Don't worry, we'll get through it real fast. All right. Well, it is time to dissect. That. Boom. The movie starts at Camp Crystal Lake in 1958. Campfire songs, which are very religious in theme. Campfire, yeah.
The campfire song.
Is this a religious camp?
No, do you know the campfire song, right?
From SpongeBob.
Gather around the campfire, sing the campfire song, the CAMPFRESONG song.
We have to make a SpongeBob reference.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm waiting for the SpongeBob reference. It shows up in every episode.
We try.
I even knew what it was. Oh my god.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we have campfire songs. I can't even talk. Stalking, sex, and murder. I love how
Stalking
this girl
sex?
is stalking sex. I mean, maybe.
Sorry.
But
A little better. I'm
I
sorry.
love the girl who's playing the guitar and singing the song. She's the one who like takes the dude upstairs. She's like singing about Jesus and stuff. And I'm like, all right, here we go. And I love that they just walk away. Everyone's still there. It's just them, just like, we gotta go, holding hands. Like no one knows what's about to happen. Like they're about to go have sex in the attic.
Yeah.
As you do.
Yeah. So they wander around, and you get the point of view of our killer as they go into just random cabins and look at sleeping children. When you find out who it is, and you find out that they worked at the camp, why are they just wandering around? Gotta make sure these children are sleeping as I'm about to go murder some camp counselors.
One of these kids wakes up, I swear I'll drown him. Jason needs someone to play with. Excuse me?
Just off in the distance, you just hear a splash. What was that? Oh, but yeah, they're about to. Well, I guess did they finish? I don't think they do. That was pretty quick.
No.
I don't even think they got all their clothes off.
He may have, but he knows nobody got close to
He's
getting
like-
to insertion.
It's like, sorry, Betty. I've
He's
just been
trying to
so excited all day.
Motorboating is about as far as they got, dude.
But they get interrupted. I just love how she's just creeping. She's at the top of the stairs and she's like, oh, somebody's here. I can just imagine if they remade this movie and they actually show just Betsy Palmer just like, I see you. Comes up the stairs.
Just have her hiding up there somewhere in the attic, like with a blanket over her head, tucked away.
Somebody needs to make that cut where it's like, we know it's Mrs. Voorhees, so let's make the cut where you actually see Mrs. Voorhees just wandering around the camp in the beginning. So the kids could both get stabbed. Well, one gets stabbed, the other one gets killed in a freeze frame. I love that.
They're
and
deadly.
Then we get the epic Friday the 13th title card as it crashes through glass. I love how they made this. It's like it was like a 3D model that they just kind of shot through an actual pane of glass.
Why is it glass though?
Why not?
I don't know. I mean, a body gets thrown through a window later.
That's what windows are for, isn't it?
That's the best I can do for you. I don't know.
In this franchise, that's what windows are for, is throwing bodies through them. So
that's true.
But the
Voorhees family is not a fan of glass.
That's his, because everybody always talks about like a signature weapon, and I know he's got the machete. I think it's just glass windows. I think that's the thing, dude. Like that's the thing nobody talks. Yeah, it's something people don't talk about.
Yeah, he loves.
Oh no, the first 4 movies especially. Like if they make a point of showing you every glass window because someone's going through it at some point.
Yeah,
they
he's
might
either
not be
ripping
alive
him
when they
through
go
it. He's either
but,
throwing him. He's diving through them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he just loves windows, or he hates them.
Loves
he
to
just
hate 'em.
loathes them. Fuck you, window.
Not a big fan of doors either. So
No.
One of the things that I remember mentioning back when we did the ranking episode was that the after the title card shows up and they show the credits, it's so boring. Nothing is happening. It's just showing names on a black screen. And you get the great Harry Manfredini score, but it's like, that's it. Nothing is happening. Like, at least like just have somebody walk around the woods with a camera and just give us like scenery shots. Like in the dark.
I already watched that movie this year. I much prefer the black.
But
and
listen,
white,
it would only lasted about 45 seconds to a minute, not an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Isn't this most of the early films?
Yes,
the
it's
same,
literally
like,
the
opening?
score with a black background with names. Yeah. Now we are in the present day because that's all it says. It just says Friday the 3rd, or it says June 13th, present. All right. We got to figure that out. I guess it's 1980. And a young woman is just hitchhiking through this town, and she needs to get to Camp Crystal Lake, or as the locals call it, Camp Blood, all because of the murders that happened in 1958. And I love it when she walks into the diner and she mentions that she needs to go there, and everybody just looks at her like, what the fuck are you doing? But then they immediately know who started it, and they're like, it's that Christie guy. Stupid asshole. What's he doing?
It's a very small town. It's a nice feel.
Yeah. Which this was filmed in New Jersey, which is where Camp Crystal Lake is based out of. It's not, and this franchise is pretty consistent with keeping the camp in one location. It's not like Nightmare on Elm Street where the first movie is in Springwood, but it's in LA. It clearly looks like California, but then like 7 movies later, they're like, no, it's in Ohio. And like,
No.
but it's never looked like Ohio. What are you talking about? I will
I don't
never
know what
forget
you're talking
though.
about. Ohio and California look exactly the same, especially in
100%.
January.
Oh yeah.
I know those palm trees really go well in Ohio.
Hey,
Okay.
I go to Toledo like once or twice a year, and I always see the palm trees. It's the biggest part of the stop.
All right. You would know more than me, so I'm not gonna argue. So the truck driver that's at the diner, he offers her a ride. Or actually, the waitress is like, "Can you give her a ride?" And he's like, "Yeah, whatever." They go outside and they run into Crazy Ralph, and it's like, is this dude constantly like tense? Like his neck veins and his neck skin is just so tight. He's like, "You're going to Camp Blood."
He's got that.
It's a death curse.
He's
I
got
love
that
Crazy.
big shit neck going on. Like he's really working it out, dude.
I want a prequel movie where we see what he did for the last 20 years between the
Right?
first murders and the supposed fires. Did he just walk around bugging people saying they're doomed for 20 years, and then finally he's right? Or is he Crazy Ralph for other reasons? Does he do other shenanigans?
I mean,
He's got to get it right one time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My guess is is he a vet? Like he saw some shit. Like he's like something has fucked him up, and then the murders kind of added to it. And was he a part of the camp at the time? Like we need a Crazy Ralph
story that makes
story that
makes sense is that he was at the camp at the time, but
we're not. You never get any of that.
he's
He's just the crazy guy in town.
Let's just leave it at that. Don't let anybody remake it. They'll make something stupid like he was in a relationship with Mrs. Voorhees or some dumb shit, and it's actually Jason's dad, and he got like knocked on the head by her, and he's had brain damage. He's weird ever since. It'd be some dumb thing like that.
I'd watch it.
And they lived in a trailer park, and Jason's only the way he is because he had a bad upbringing.
I'm not writing this all down. But yeah, he does this whole death curse spiel to the trucker, just like, shut up. Yeah, it's a death curse. Shut up, Ralph.
Get back on your fucking bike.
But I love how he tells him to
Ralph.
shut up because he's spewing all this nonsense, which is not actually nonsense, by the way. And he gets into the trucker gets in there and he's driving Andy to the camp, and then he starts saying crazy stuff. He's like, "You really going to that camp? Quit now. Quit now." She's like, "I can't quit."
I need the money.
What happened here? This dude just changed his tune so fast. But then he lets her out at a cemetery, and I really was. I always thought there was like a pan shot to like a tombstone that would say like Jason Voorhees, but it never happens. I was like, does that happen in one of these? And I was like, yeah. Don't you get like a whole like Jason's dad tombstone or something like that like later on?
You get Pamela's in part 4, and you get Jason's in part 6. Okay. Maybe in part 5 too, but definitely in part 5. Yeah.
So I love though when I love when he's giving her shit though, and he's like, your generation, head full of rocks. You're like my niece. He's just going off on her. She's just like, all right, cool. I'm gonna go now.
She kind of bites back at him though, because she's like, well, at least I don't believe in ghosts.
Yeah. And
he's like, get the fuck out.
And he's like, if this was a ghost story, that would fucking matter.
It's like, look at this timing. We just pulled up next to a cemetery. We'll talk about ghosts. Then she just wanders on. And we are then jamming it with the next set of people, which consists of a slice of bacon, his girlfriend, and the worst character in this movie. And they're jamming to some crazy banjo playing as they're just traveling down the road. And we get to see the iconic Camp Crystal Lake sign, which is behind Dan and Angela. And we then meet Steve Christie as he is chopping this wood, possibly in the worst way possible. Like, he's not even fully swinging. It's like he never picked up an axe before. This man is, like, not very skilled.
But I want to make a comment on the banjo music.
Okay, go ahead.
What's up with 1980s camp movies and banjo music? We just watched The Burning recently, and there's like a weird banjo cutaway in that too. And there's other links between The Burning and this movie. But what was it in 1980s? Like, we have crazy intense like horror movie music, but banjo interlude.
I don't know.
I mean, banjos are synonymous with summer camping and sodomy,
Are
so
they?
it's, you know.
Backwoods, yeah.
What's
Fair
scarier,
enough.
banjo music in a horror movie or Jason Alexander with hair? I don't know. It's a
Jason
tough
Alexander
question.
with hair.
I was gonna say it depends on what part of the country the horror movie takes place in.
Depends
Are
where
we
the hair is.
are we in West Virginia? Are we, you know, riding down the
It went from his
river?
back and it crawled up like a spider up to his head.
Yeah, it's like the
Crawls
Tingler.
up if you're lucky. So
Oh.
So
Oh, dude, that's a horror movie. The Bush.
so the actor who plays Steve Christie, Peter Brower, pretty much got his job because his girlfriend or wife at the time was Sean S. Cunningham's assistant, and she pretty much threatened to quit if he didn't cast him. So there we go.
That's so lame.
Yeah, but when you have a budget like they did, and you're kind of making a movie by the seat of your pants, you kind of just are like, sure, whatever. I don't care. We got to get this movie made.
he's honestly not the worst person in any of these movies, so whatever.
No. I just love how he fucks off for like a good 45 minutes, and he's just sitting at a diner. It's raining.
Yeah.
Like, it's raining.
I'll be back after lunch. Tomorrow? Like the next day? What's the specification?
Listen, he's been at the diner, I fucking the waitress the entire time, okay?
I guess.
He was busy. But we also meet Alice, who would turn out to be our final girl, and they're trying to get the camp up and running before, I think the camp opens in like a week or something like that. That's pretty soon. And it looks far from being done. And then he finds a pad where she's been drawing, which never comes back into play at all for the rest of the movie. But yeah, she draws very well, and he's very creepy about it. He's like, "You draw very well." Like, that's how he talks to her, and I was like, "Bro, are you guys a thing? Like, what's going on here?" And he like caresses her cheek. I'm like, and she's like, "I don't know how to feel about this," and I'm like, "I don't either." And I'm watching this. I'm uncomfortable.
But
for
she
you.
drew a picture of his face. It's like, how long did she stare at him?
I want you to draw me like one of your little friends, man.
Again, it's part of the 80s slasher genre. You got to have the weird pedo guy in there at some point. Otherwise, it's not,
really do.
you know.
Yeah, it's the creepiest thing he
Comes
does
up
in the
more
movie,
than
so I can't. This is like the only part of this character I was like, what the hell is happening? But then the rest of it, he's like, he's fine. But you don't really see
but
it much.
it's like he's gone. So it's like, yeah, it's fine. He's just not here.
Oh, man. So you then meet Bill as he's painting the lifeguard station down by the lake. And you get this whole conversation where he's, "Do you need any paint?" "No, but I do need some thinner." And I'm like, all right. And it goes for a little bit where they say thinner like 4 or 5 times. And I'm like, we get it. He needs more thinner. You can go now. And no joke, this dude is 100% checking out her ass. He stares at her for a good like 25 feet. She's walking away. Like, bro. But then you figure out they have a thing. So I was like, okay, makes a little bit more sense. So Steve, this is when Steve just leaves. He just hops into Jeep. He's like, "I'll be back later," and then you're like, "Okay, I'll see you at the end of the movie." We met Ned in the truck, but then we get to meet he just sucks. I don't like him. The one girl, I think it's Brenda, is setting up the target, and he shoots the target while she's like literally 2 feet away from it, which I would have literally run up and punched him in the face if he did that.
Yep.
I don't care if he had another arrow. I'm running up straight up, just knocking his ass out. Fucking Christ, man.
You'd be in the right, too. So.
Tom Savini was the one who actually shot the arrow.
Tom Savini did a lot of things in this movie that he probably shouldn't have done. So,
yeah. Well, Tom Savini and what was his the guy he worked with? It was like Tasso. Oh man, what the heck was his name?
The guy who had the snake?
No, this was the guy who worked with Tom Savini doing all the effects work. His name was Tasso. I can't remember what his last name was. But he's the one whose like hands show up at the end, and yeah. A lot of people think it was Tom Savini's hands, but it was actually the other guy. So we also get the really shitty line from him where he's just like, "You're beautiful when you're angry, sweetheart." And I'm like, oh, that's when I pin him to the ground and I just keep punching him in the face. Like, this guy sucks. They're going to find this guy in the lake and I'm going to admit to it. Like, it was me. so Annie gets another ride in a Jeep that looks very similar to Steve's. So I think it's kind of like that idea that you're supposed to believe that Steve's giving her a ride. Which was a good, I'm glad that they were able to like do that because I feel like most movies with a low budget like that wasn't going to try to mind fuck you like that.
It's probably the same Jeep. They just put a different license plate on it.
100% it was. 100% it was. They're like, let's put the top on it. Because before he didn't have the top on it, they would just throw the top on it. It's fine.
It worked though.
But yeah, things are getting a little weird in the Jeep. She's talking about how excited she is to start the job. You find out she's going to be the cook, and the driver just drives by the turnoff to the camp, and she's like, you missed it. And they just keep going. You hear no dialogue. You don't see the person, and then she's like, I'm just gonna hop out of this thing as this Jeep's going full speed. And the actress who played Annie was super pumped about doing this stunt. She was like, I get to jump out of a moving vehicle. Awesome. And yeah, she tucks and rolls, man. She does the proper method, hopping out of a vehicle.
Good on her.
Yeah. And I like how she gets up and she's limping. It's not like, most characters where they like hop out of a moving vehicle and they get up and they're like perfectly fine. They can like run at full speeds. And yeah.
Like the dinosaurs at Jurassic Park. They get hit by trucks. They're fine. They're okay. This is fine.
No, I'm thinking like Vin Diesel and any fucking Fast and the Furious movie.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
But okay, I guess the dinosaurs.
We'll do a human next time. I apologize.
Oh, man. But yeah, she's running through the woods and tripping over things. And then she gets pinned to a tree and gets her throat slit. This was
definitely not Betsy Palmer who does it. So
no. The funniest thing is they had the effects artist doing the like he had to apply the effects, but also he did the motions. But he wore a bunch of rings on his hand and they never took them off. And they were like, we should have shaved his hands so that
he's also like not the size of Betsy Palmer, who was like I don't know how old she is in this movie, probably 50 or something like that, but
probably like 25. All these people are toddlers and they look like they're 100 years old.
That's fine. So you have 25-year-old Betsy Palmer at a whole whopping like 120 pounds, and here comes like Bubba the Love Sponge to go kill the first girl in this movie or second girl in this movie. But it's cool. It's Betsy Palmer. It's no problem.
The effects are really good because they literally had to coach the actress who played Annie to like move at the right time to open up the actual wound to get the blood to ooze. So Tom Savini talks about the concoction that they used to make the blood. It was your normal stuff like caro syrup. What was the other? Food coloring. But then they had to use like Kodak, like it was something to develop film. It was like a chemical. Yikes! It's very dangerous because the guy who played Bill, a bad thing happened to him. Almost a really bad thing.
Fine.
Yeah, he's fine now. Sorry.
He walked it off. It's okay.
Yeah. So yeah, this is where I was like, oh man, this music sounds very similar to what we'll get in Reanimator in a few years as she's like tripping through the woods. But of course, because the boss man's away, it's time to party at the lake. So they're all swimming and somebody's watching them from the bank. And then you get the whole, I think somebody's over there. And you always expect to see somebody, but you never do. You just kind of have to imagine it. And then you get the scene that people like to post. And I think John's posted it a few times of the close-up shot of Kevin Bacon's swimsuit.
Oh, yeah, I have.
I don't think that's his dick, dude. That if that's his dick, then he needed to get that thing checked out. That looks like a soft-shell turtle head trying to poke out of something, man. It was like inverted. Like I was kind of like, ooh, what the?
I thought it looked like a toilet paper tube, but
I wonder if he did it on purpose.
It's kind of concave at the tip where it should not be. So it's very
Maybe
awkward.
I'll post it in the YouTube video and you guys can figure it out and hopefully it doesn't get flagged.
Look at this dick. Does this look like a dick to you? What's wrong with
I
this?
just put a bunch of arrows.
All you gotta do is look at this toilet paper tube. Does it look like a dick to you? And that's where you leave it. It's not a dick.
There
It's
we
a
go.
toilet paper tube.
Clearly, yes.
And then we Ned adds to his shittery, which is him faking drowning. He literally is out there,
Yes.
I can't swim. He literally goes under for a good amount of time, and they literally have to jump in and rescue him. And this motherfucker faked it just so he can kiss one of the girls.
I don't buy Kevin Bacon's dive in that scene either. He looks like he belly flops into the water when he's going to save him. So
Another SpongeBob reference. Rips your pants, rip my pants, knock him dead, pretending to drown. No. Fucking stupid. Who does that?
When you
It's
live
so dumb.
underwater?
happens a lot in the series, actually.
Dude, dude, oh my God. Dude, it's when he gets the note that invites him to a party. He's like, I would love to go to this party, this invitation to go to this party, but I can't read it. It's all smudged. Clearly, he doesn't understand the limitations of life underwater. Wrinkles it up. Let's throw this in the fire. Fucking love it. It's one of the best gags in that show.
Oh man, so many spots. I'm waiting for the Simpsons one. We're gonna have a Simpsons reference in this episode at some point. Yeah, Ned sucks. He fucking sucks. And when he dies, I'm like, I wish his death was so much better because it's kind of lame.
Yeah, it just sucks that it's off screen.
That's about it.
Yeah, it's like, hey, come into this cabin. Then he just disappears. Then you see him later.
Yeah, he gets duped by not Pamela Voorhees, and wanders into the cabin. It's like, look at this 7-foot tall woman who is clearly Betsy Palmer. I'm gonna go in there. So
like just throw some tree branches in front of him so you can't really tell.
Right.
Nothing bad could come of this situation.
Hello? It's always somebody walks in, they're just like, hello? Hello? And they just say hello 15 times. If no one answers, turn around.
Yeah,
go somewhere else. God.
Could you imagine phone calls with these people? Holy hell.
It's the worst. This is where we get the snake in the cabin. And it's a real snake. And it gets killed. And I feel bad for the handler who had to deal with this. Because it was like his personal snake. And these fucking assholes killed it.
Yes.
They didn't tell him they were going to do it either. They
didn't
did.
warn
So,
them.
Oh, man.
Like, we need to borrow your snake. Well, you're not getting it back now. Sorry.
I do like how right after that it goes to like Sunday evening sitcom where she's like, well, I guess I know what we're having for dinner, and they have a little, pillow. I'm like,
laugh track.
They finish frame.
You just get the Seinfeld.
Exactly. Yes.
Why not?
But I do like the whole situation where she finds the snake and she's got Bill in there trying to find it and to kill it. And he's like looking under there. He's like, I don't see it. And she's like, well, call it. And he's like, how do you call a snake? I was like, oh, that is pretty funny. But yeah, after they kill him and they do the joke, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? You just killed a real animal, you dicks. This is the time to laugh. It's always Ned, too, that son of a bitch. Shut up, Ned.
Fuck him, dude. Fuck him in his big ass nose.
Oh man. Then we get another comedic moment where the cop shows up.
This dude sucks, man.
Like, what are you guys doing here? He's got to do the epic glasses take on. I was like, what are you guys doing? Smoking that weed, smoking that reefer down here, and he's like, "What the?"
He's got to drop several. He's got to drop several racial slurs at Ned before he does that, though.
Yeah,
Ned's over there running around with his basketball jersey as a diaper or whatever. So,
making the Native American call. He's just like, "What is happening here?"
Yeah,
but the cop is just so out of place because this is a dude who is clearly one of the only cops in this town. Takes this job way too serious.
Yeah, he does.
And I was waiting for him to just literally just beef it off that bike as he's got to drive down to the end of the road to turn around. I'm just waiting for him to just tip over.
Dude, if he ate shit, that would have been so cool.
You better behave. I don't like tomfoolery around here. As he puts him back on, just drives away. What the fuck just happened?
He loves doing that whip around too.
He had that leg out. Yeah,
and he does almost eat it a couple times.
There was 100% he did at one point. There's got to be bloopers somewhere of this dude just
They show him
God, I
right off.
fucking
His pant
hope.
legs are all ripped up. Hey, what happened?
They show him in the next
Make
scene.
sure to
he's,
just make sure to shoot him from this side because he's looking rough on the other
they
side.
got to show him in the next scene driving away wet that they didn't cut out because he fell off and biffed into the lake. So why is he wet?
But yeah, the whole reason the cop was there is he was looking for Ralph. Because everyone's looking for Ralph. No one knows where this dude is. Just wandering around. But as soon as he drives away, Alice gets a jump scare from Ralph as he comes out of the pantry. What the fuck you doing in there, bro? You're all doomed. It's a death curse. You're all doomed. And then he just wanders out. He hops on his bike. And again, I just wanted Ralph to just beef it off the bike. Just starts riding away like, whoa!
Oh, that'd be cool. Like two people on bikes, like back to back. Just eat it, dude. That'd be so good.
It's like we can't afford to do another shot. We just got to keep it in. Just pick up the bike and keep going.
Throw in a sad trombone just for.
Okay, go ahead, John.
Womp, womp, womp.
I was gonna say just throw in a sad trombone just for good measure. So
Oh, it'd be so good. Do you think they just found Ralph's bike on like the side of the road, like next to the dumpster? Like, oh, this will work. We'll just throw some air in the tire.
probably
Here's your bike, Ralph.
Ralph just thought they were playing hide and seek, and he won.
He did. Then he gave everybody a death curse.
He was storing up all that spittle for the corner of his mouth.
Yeah. Oh God, he was really working it up, wasn't he?
That guy does not need a close up.
Oh.
There's too many close-ups on people that don't need close-ups. We need to stop that. The end is the
We
worst.
should do an episode of this where we're all close-ups. The camera.
It's just our teeth. No one wants to see that. No one will ever watch a video of ours again.
we got
No.
You got
we got to eat too.
You got to do
Ugh.
that flex so your neck all spreads out,
can't even
and that's
do
what
it.
you
Like, I
focus
kinda-
on, just like a letter bob.
Golly. I feel like I don't have long enough neck for that. Like Ralph's got a long ass neck.
That
That's too much
that just
insulation.
hurts after a while.
I want to know, when did Tramps start? Like, when did Tramps lose the vest?
Ralph.
You think Ralph was the last of his kind?
Yeah. There were some tramps that were watching the movie going, we should ditch the vest.
It's
Not a
over.
vest
It's
anymore.
It's over, guys. Lose the vest.
now that this guy exists, we have absolutely no credibility in these vests. We got to get rid of them. So
We need to rebrand ourselves.
My favorite thing though is the fact that the power goes out before the storm shows up. They're like, oh, gotta get that generator running. Then the storm hits and everything goes to shit. I'm like, it would have made more sense if the storm knocked out the power. But then they'd have to go start the generator.
Yeah, then we wouldn't have had to do 2 episodes last week or this week.
That is true. That is true.
So, ironically, we had to talk about this because it was in the last episode. So, if you haven't listened to that one, you should go back and listen to our episode on whatever the fuck we talked about.
Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters. That's what I completely forgot. So, we were going to record last Friday, and the power just went out.
For
There was no
reason.
storm.
Like 10 minutes
No,
before
nothing.
we were supposed to record.
Just
I'm like,
like,
I'm
oh,
not
usually the
recording
one
this
who
week.
has that kind of that happens to me all the time. So or often
it's a
enough.
really suspicious problem to have. Just like
Well,
your
it's
power
like-
grid, just like,
Yeah,
it's John's house, fuck him.
Yeah.
They just hit a button on
It was
accident.
about half
Fuck,
a
which one was
gallon.
it?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's how it works. Is that's John's house? Fuck him. That's exactly how it works. So
There's somebody at the power station that hates, or like that works over the power grid that hates John, but it's not you. It's a different John. He always gets it mixed up, so it's just targeting you all the time.
I think it might be me. So it's probably a
Why do they
Child's Play
both have to
fan.
have H's in their name? Damn it.
It's probably a
Just completely
Child's
bad.
Play fan or like a Art the Clown fan or something like that. And it's like,
Oh.
fuck this guy.
It's like you left like
It's
bags of
probably
shit
no.
on the front
It's not
porch.
Child's Play fans. It's Terrifier fans. 100%.
Yeah.
Don't fuck with Terrifier fans. Golly. But yeah, so they get the generator running. Then we get some cute moments with Bacon and his girlfriend as they're like dancing on logs and running around making out, and Ned's sitting there probably a dick in his hand, fucking watching them in the distance, and he's all sad because he wants Marcy. At least that's what I'm thinking. Or is Ned Marcy's brother? I don't know. I feel like it's kind of
I don't know.
like the conversation that Kevin Bacon and Marcy have. What is Kevin Bacon's character's name?
Jack?
Jack. Okay,
Is that what it
he
is?
was always Bacon in my
Oh,
notes, so it's fine.
I always
Valentine?
call him Bacon, so
But they're having the
Valentine.
they're having the whole conversation about Ned, and she kind of talks like Ned is her brother, but it's never like stated that. But I just think Ned is he wants Marcy and he can't have her, so he's got.
I think he was the dick everybody.
Oh, he sucks, dude. He sucks, and when he dies, I was happy, but I was also sad because it wasn't worse.
So the only thing that sucks is I like the truck he drives. First off, secondly, I had to explain to my child what a camper shell was because he had no clue. This is the generation we live in, folks. I'm just like, he's like, what's that on the back of the truck, man? I was like, well, son, that's a camper top.
He's also 10.
I know. I'm just giving him shit. I just use it as a point of reference because if people remind, like, we grew up, you guys know what camper tops are, right?
Yeah,
you see my trucks, it's a camper top.
Yeah.
He had no idea, which is fine because they're not very common. I was like, they still make them to this day.
Listen, I could literally turn around, go into my son's room and be like, hey, you know what a camper top is? And he would look at me and go, what are you talking about? And then I just walk away.
Dad, get out of my room.
Get out of my room.
He's also the same kid that I had to tell multiple times to shh because he wouldn't stop talking.
Yeah, we did let our 10-year-old watch the movie, which is fun.
I'm like, just watch the movie, please.
But of course, we skipped, the tatters.
He had his own.
It's not
his pillow that he
bad as I remember it being. Like, I mean, I've seen way worse, but watching this movie, I'm like, the sex is not that bad. It's the one sex scene. And it's like you see boobs for like what, a couple seconds, and then that's about it. You just see a lot of ladies walking around in their underwear.
Let's be fair. Kevin Bacon gets more penetration than any of the women do in this movie.
That's true. Yeah, that's 100%.
Yes.
He gets deep throated, throat just in a different direction. Yeah. Holy hell!
Yeah,
the 80s were an inventive time.
Super effective. So.
Oh man, but yeah, Ned.
Sorry.
So Ned gets lured away, and then we never see him again. Well, we do see him one more time, but it's not the way he probably wanted.
He's watching
to be
Kevin Bacon,
again.
so he's always there.
He's watching that bacon sizzle.
Santa Claus.
Do you think that's just his ghost now? Like, if Kevin Bacon and his lady's character didn't die, it would just be Ned's ghost, just like watching them fuck all the time. Like, this is just I have to follow.
Yeah.
So they go back home to some other part of Jersey, and Ned just haunts them and stays there in multiple pieces. I would watch this movie too. So,
yep. So whenever they have sex, instead of him being like on the bunk above, he'll just be like, you'll see his corpse under the bed. Like, why is this here?
Just keeps moving him
different parts of the room. Yeah.
just places from one spot to another.
Occasionally has a camera,
It's like the body in Abbott and Costello Meet the Mummy, where they just
it's exactly
around and just keep finding it in different places. What the hell?
It's just Ned.
Oh man,
you put Ned on the shitter this morning.
I think he's done.
It's had a hard day. Leave him alone.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh man!
Thanks to rigor mortis, he will never have a problem being hard ever again.
Like a prequel of Weekend at Bernie's. So
yes.
Oh,
Night at Nettie's, dude.
Oh god! So we are then back with Bill, Alice, and Brenda. Which, to be honest, I didn't know this girl's name was Brenda until almost the moment before she died. Because I don't think I hear her name throughout the entire movie until they're looking for her, and they say her name like 6 times in the matter of 10 seconds. But they're stuck in the cabin, and Bill's just ripping it on the guitar. And the guy who plays Bill is Harry Crosby, who is Bing Crosby's son. So, very talented.
But yeah, he's all over his back.
Oh yeah. Bill, to be honest, is one of my favorite. Bill's one of my favorite characters in this movie. He's not an asshole. He's not out to just get puss. He's just a genuinely nice dude, and that's
because he's already got it. He already got the puss,
yeah,
so
but
he's good.
Usually
he's at the hill, the zenith.
As this series progresses, a lot of the boyfriends of the main characters usually are pieces of shit, or pretty close to being pieces of shit. Bill's a cool dude.
He seems cool. He seems level, like you said, like a level-headed dude.
Yeah. But Brenda's
he doesn't die by he's stabbing me.
He's killing me. He's killing me. Why are you announcing this?
Play by play.
I like how he announces it before he starts killing him. So
she's up there like, I don't believe you. You're still talking.
He's the GPS. He's like the GPS. GPS has to tell you before the turn, not after it. You got to warn you.
That's warn you.
Except
Except
for fucking here, when I'm using my GPS to go to cabins, I'm like, GPS signal lost, and I'll keep going. I'm like, I feel like that's my turn. Turn right, and I'm like, well, I'm like 300 feet past it. Thanks, GPS.
Or it'll tell you to turn and there's no road.
Where's the road? It's like Bob's Road. Anyway, go ahead.
Sure.
Just a reference.
Fashionably late again. Oh, God.
Nightcrawler.
So Brenda comes up with the idea to do strip Monopoly, and I was like, oh God, Monopoly. I was with Alice. She's like, I hate Monopoly. I'm like, I hate it too. It sucks. It's one of the worst fucking board games.
It's a pretty good McDonald's game though.
Yeah.
I got a fry or two out of it.
Oh yeah, where you would collect the different things. Yeah, I obsessed over that for a bit, and then I just
before the mafia controlled it. Nice one, John. Jeez.
This movie did take place in Jersey. What do you expect?
That's true. Okay, you got me.
So Bacon is laying it down.
Yeah, it is.
And I mean, you got like the thrusting and the butt squeezes. I'm like, was shit really happening here? Golly, getting it all. The Janine Taylor who played Marcy, she was like hesitant about doing the sex scenes and stuff, and then Shaughnessy Cunningham kind of talked her into it, and she's like, "Oh, okay, I'm cool with it because no one's gonna see this movie." And then she told a story about how when she got with her husband, she didn't want her in-laws to go see it when it came out, and her in-laws went to see it like opening weekend. And she said that her father-in-law came back. She's like, I served in World War II, and that movie was worse. I was like, God damn.
Holy hell, dude. Good God.
It's sense.
Not that bad.
God.
No, but that's how Savini's always said that he's designed his effects, because he served in Vietnam as a photographer and a medic. So he took all that. Basically, when he came back and started doing Dawn of the Dead and this and Burning and stuff, he was basically just looking at his photos from war and like reapplying it to horror movies. So
yeah, the way he likes to describe himself is, I make pretty people ugly, but I can also make pretty people even more pretty. But most of the time I like messing with the ugly, I was like, okay.
He also knows how to make a penis gun, so
Yeah.
He does.
I heard he's kind of a dick at cons.
Yeah.
I met him at a coffee shop before con, and he was really like down to earth. All I said was, hey, like, I fucking
from what I've heard. I'm not saying
shit.
I've never had an experience with him, so I can't say for myself, but I have heard I've heard some stories, but that's all there'll be right now.
I'm pretty sure if I had to listen to nerds trying to like talk to me all day, I'd probably be annoyed at cons too. So
I would be too. In fairness,
do you really want me coming up to you 500 times and asking you to like tell your life story over? Go fuck off, John.
No.
Well, he probably has to steel himself for when he goes to the con, but when you saw him at the coffee shop, he was off guard and he was like, yeah, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
I like you too, man, whatever you do. And then you go to the con, he's like, fuck you.
Yeah, right. So if any of us ever get big enough to get invited to con as guests, I'm going to be a total asshole. Like, that Dan, dude, he's a fuckhead. I'm like, damn right.
Oh, yeah. So as Bacon is getting it on, as Bacon is sizzling, Ned is up there with his slit throat, and I went, son of a bitch. I wanted it to go worse for him.
I did too.
So yeah, Marcy's got to take a pee, and it's raining outside, and she decides she's gonna hike halfway through the camp to go to the bathroom. I went, lady, just go to an overhang and just pop a squat outside. Why are you walking into the pouring rain to do it? Listen, I would have opened that door and just gone. Like, it's like, I'm not wandering through the pouring rain to go to an outhouse.
Can you just like wedge your cheeks like out the window, like your butt, just like do this number out. I can't see it.
What is happening?
You don't have to go outside. You got your legs holding you in, and you can use your back to brace against the top of the window, and you just do it right there.
Yeah, I've had to stop on the side of the road before. Was
there a window on the side of the road?
No, but when it's emergency.
I mean, there's windows in cars, Dan.
That would work. It's efficiency.
See, if you do that, you don't even need to stop the car.
Side of the road.
Well, you could go while you could do it while you're driving.
Yeah.
Same time.
No,
Sufficient.
you can't drive and pee at the same time.
No. Somebody be driving.
Well, see, we
you
weren't.
technically you just put cruise control on and have
Sure.
a long open lane.
Men have it easier. You can just out the window.
I assure you, when I'm driving, I can't just like roll my hips to the window. I'm like, I'll arch it. It'll be fine. No, it won't be fine.
Just gonna section off this section of the episode, just talking about pissing.
Please.
Hey,
That's what the show's about. Come on, how many people?
you know how many conversations have ended with pee and poop conversations?
It's
Here?
true.
Yes, quite a bit.
No,
Anywhere.
Oh, okay.
Anywhere.
I like how much longer
that's
we've turned this Kevin. I like how much longer we've turned this Kevin Bacon sex scene into, other than because in the movie it's like 5 seconds, and we got to be on like 20 minutes now. So Kevin Bacon's still fucking.
No,
he's
it's
curled.
over. He's over.
His
He's
bacon's curled. He's
yeah,
done.
right. He's done.
It's overcooked.
And
Yes.
he just wants to enjoy himself. He's going to light up this joint that he rolled, and unfortunately, he can't enjoy it because he gets a good old arrow through the neck. I love it.
You can smoke through a hole in the neck.
Oh yeah, I mean, wasn't that how the woman smoked in Beetlejuice? Because she had the slit in her throat?
I was telling this story at work on Friday. My great grandmother had.
Did she go through the trach?
No, she was with a guy that did it.
Okay.
She was on oxygen and smoked.
Mm-hmm.
That's effective.
Safest.
And I was like,
hobbies.
I am not coming to your house while you have oxygen and you're smoking. No, the guy that she lived with, I don't know what their relationship ever was, but he had a trach and had it removed, and he would smoke through the hole.
Do you know if he had one cigarette here and here, you could double time?
That's what you call
Just
fishing.
No,
Fuck yes, dude. This guy gets
because
it.
he would have to. No, because he'd have to plug the hole to get air to go.
No, I'm just being stupid.
But yeah, I was like, no, you guys. I was like, you guys are stupid. One's gonna try and blow up the house, and the other one's just gonna try and suck a cigarette down his throat.
Seems like a
Yeah,
terrible
wouldn't that
grandma.
suck? You just get like one puff, it's too hard. Whammo! You got a hole in your lung.
Well,
You
she
got lit
was
cigarettes
missing half a
floating around
lung,
in your
so-
stomach. So
Oh, this is a great episode.
This is great.
I just want to point that out. This is fucking wonderful.
so anyway,
I was
Kevin
not-
Bacon's fucking.
No, he's done. He's been done. He's dead now.
No, he's done.
But I do like the
He's
effect work
spewing.
that originally when the arrow goes through, there was a like a device that they had that would pump the blood, but the hose came out, and so the effects artist had to pick it up and like blow into it to get the blood to actually like squirt out.
Yep.
Gets
So-
in Kevin Bacon's mouth. Doesn't have good aim.
No. Well, I don't think. I mean, clearly you can't see what you're
Most
doing.
of us don't. So.
Yeah.
Ugh, gross.
Yeah.
So we are then with Marcy, who makes it to the bathroom. She's like talking to herself. She goes to the bathroom. She gets stalked, and you get the whole like, you think somebody's going to jump out of one of the stalls, and no one's there, and then
She fixes the plumbing though.
she does.
Yes.
She does.
Mhm.
Which a character will go into. Well, does Brenda go into this bathroom later and use that
I think
same
so.
sink?
I believe so.
Because when she goes into the bathroom later, she messes with the knobs and nothing happens, but then she's able to get water from it and brush her teeth.
Oh yeah.
I don't
'cause the
remember seeing
valve-
her face.
No, I don't know then.
I don't know.
I don't know.
But yeah, Marcy gets an axe to the face. It's a great effect. So we are then back with the three others who are playing Strip Monopoly, and clearly Alice is doing well because she still has all of her clothes on, and the other two are pretty much down to their underwear. And I love that Brenda's like, "Oh, I gotta go," because I think the generator goes out, so they're just like, "Oh, I guess we'll have to pick up this game later," and she leaves. Or maybe it was the door flies open. He shuts it, and she's like, "I think it's time I should go." And I went, "Because the door opened?"
She leaves for something really medial. Like she leaves to go take a leak or something and takes all her shit with her. It's like, I'm never coming back now. See you guys later. Have fun in your underwear. But she also doesn't get dressed when she goes out in the cold storm, which is like the storm of the century condensed into like 4 hours.
Yep. She's like, "I'm just gonna grab all this, throw this raincoat on. See you later."
No shoes, no sandals, nothing.
Nope.
Just go
Barefoot.
washing through some schlop.
Nobody warned her. Like, when you go outside, don't forget, because of the storm, the perimeter fences are off, so there's going to be velociraptors out. So just go straight to your cabin.
Timmy's still trying to get over the fence.
He's just hanging there, his corpse.
Jump! Oh man. So we see where Steve's been the whole time. He's at the diner. Clearly he's been here for hours because it is pitch black outside. Listen, I understand there's a storm, but it doesn't turn like things just don't go pitch black just because a storm's there. It's because it's late at night, and this motherfucker has been out all day, even though he's supposed to be back after lunch. But he's there. The waitress is flirting with him. She was almost going to give him his lunch for free or his dinner for free, and he's like, I can't do that. So he pays it. He leaves.
I will tell you, if you watch this under the right influence of certain substances, this waitress is the scariest looking person in this entire fucking movie.
She is pretty scary, to be honest.
She's rough. She looks like something. She looks like an extra from Killer Clowns from Outer Space or something. So
she's like, "Don't worry, honey, it's on me. Have a great night.
some
Love
coffee
you."
for the road.
Yeah, give. I can't. I don't even. I think I wrote her name down. Did I write her name down?
Sandy.
Sandy. Yeah. Give Sandy a kissy before you leave.
Parker was using that cup this morning.
No, it was, yes. But... oh, I remember when they first invented chocolate. I always hated it. Damn SpongeBob meme. Anyway.
Oh God. So then, yeah, we're back.
Voice, by the way, Parker.
Yeah, yeah. I can't do it much though. It hurts. So the girl, Brenda, shows up to the bathroom. This is when I was confused because she turns on the water, nothing happens, and then she magically is brushing her teeth with water. So whatever. We're back with Steve. His car breaks down, and did he call the cop from somewhere to come meet him here? Or was it just convenient that the cop just drove by this one section of road?
I think convenient.
The ladder.
Yeah, and so that happens. He picks up Steve, and they leave. Then you get Brenda getting ready for bed, and she's laying in bed. She's got her book, and then she hears, "Help me! Someone help me!" To be honest, I don't know in all the other times I've watched this movie I ever remember hearing a voice. This was like the first time I was like, "Oh shit! Somebody's actually talking outside."
I usually miss that part, but I noticed it this time. I'm like, have I noticed this before? I'm like, I'm sure I've noticed this before, but yeah, it's weird. So
yeah, well,
it's also unnecessary.
Well, you can hear it, but also, I watch all my movies with subtitles, and the subtitles pop up saying, what the outdoor voice is saying. So I'm like, oh shit, I never realized that. But also, Brenda, stay inside or get an umbrella. Like no one's got a fucking umbrella here. Like this girl is like all ready for bed. She's got her nightgown on, and she just wanders out in the pouring rain with this flash, like, hello, hello. No one's answering. Immediately, I'm turning around and just going back to the cabin. It says she wanders farther out. Holy Christ. No wonder all these people die. They're all dumb. She then makes it to
taking a shower and calling out that she's taking a shower.
Ralph survived this time. So
yeah.
Yep.
But she makes it to the archery part of the camp, and all the lights turn on, and it's ironic because where she supposedly died, because you don't see her death, but you imagine that she gets shot with something at the target there, which is where she was earlier when Ned shot the target. So I was like, oh, cool. I like when they do. I like the little ironic shots here and there that kind of foreshadow some of the deaths. So they hear the screaming, and I like that Alice is like, I heard screaming. It's like, oh, it's fine.
It's just the wind. Like, does that normally sound like that?
This girl literally went out because she heard, help me. But they're like, we heard screaming. It's okay. We don't need to check.
Yeah, that happens.
But yeah, Alice and Bill, they go out to look for Brenda. And this is the first time I actually heard her name and went, oh, maybe I should put Brenda in my notes. And I love when they go into the cabin. It's just like the fucking axe, the bloody axe in the bed. It's like the killer just tucked it in real good. Like, I'll be back for you.
99, sweet prince.
Just like lipstick marks on the blade.
Oh, that'd be great.
So they break into the manager's office to use the phone, phone doesn't work. They have to show you that the line has been cut. And they also have to go and check the truck that's also been fucked with, so they can't leave. I love it. Just when he opens the hood, she's like, "What's wrong with it?" He's like, "It's wet." I don't know.
At least he doesn't know. I mean, in all fairness.
Yeah. But I forgot that he says, "I don't know." I just figured he thought the car didn't work because it was wet. The guy said the next line because I would have been like, "What is happening? What are you talking about?" Oh my god! And does Bill and Alice kiss right here?
Sure.
Like right before they walk
I
away
can't
from the
remember.
truck? Like there was a quick peck that I like might have looked away. I was like talking to my wife for a second and I just looked and like I was like, did they kiss? This is like they're together, right? Whatever. I don't think it matters.
He'll be dead in a moment. It won't matter.
Yeah.
I got news for you. None of these characters fucking matter.
No. But we're back with the cop and Steve. They're driving around and the cop, of course, is talking about how the full moon, it causes a lot of issues, you know, a lot more murders, a lot more sexual assaults, a lot more this and that. And so he's like, all right, okay, whatever. And this is when you find out that Crazy Ralph is married. And I went, what? Excuse me? Never knew that. Never picked up on that line in all the times I've seen this movie that he mentions, Ralph's wife has been calling me trying to find him. And I went, excuse me? That man has a wife? All right. And then a call comes over the radio that there has been an extreme accident, that there might be fatalities and all that. I was like, all right. I guess that's where he's getting dropped off because he literally has to drop him off in like the middle of the street to wander back to camp, which I guess is only right down the street because the next scene is him wandering into Camp Crystal Lake. And he's like, oh, hey, what are you doing here? And you're like, oh, clearly this guy knows who this is. And then he dies. And I thought his death was a lot like prolonged. I thought there was like way more to his death, but it's like he gets hit and it cuts to the next scene. I went, I don't remember that, but all right. And I watched the unrated
comes
cut
back
too.
later. So
yeah. So the generator is taken out and Bill has to go and check it. And you get there's some moments where you think that Bill is going to get killed in the scene because there's like moments where it looks like somebody is stalking him inside where the generator is. And you think like somebody's walking up to him, but then he turns to look and he doesn't either notice someone's there or no one's there at all. It's just the camera following him around. Alice wakes up screaming Bill's name. And this is where I was like, oh, is this like the moment Bill gets killed that Alice would wake up screaming his name? But no, Bill comes back. So like, Bill's still alive, everybody. He's still here. Sure. It's how my brain is.
Review this whole movie in one word and you just said it. Sure. So
that's how my brain works. I'm sorry. So yeah, she goes out to look for him. And actually, so I guess he doesn't come back because she wakes up screaming his name and then she goes out to look for him and she closes that door and finds him pinned to the door with the arrows through his head. That's actually him hanging from that door. Like it's not.
He got it rough, dude.
Yeah,
he got like fucking worse than anybody, I think.
So the concoction that they use for the
that
blood,
axe to the head is pretty.
Yeah, that's
really okay. Cool, that's a good one too.
We'll talk about our favorite kills at the end. But so of course they use the like a latex solution for the arrow like in his eye, but then they had to use the blood around it. But I guess the blood seeped in between the latex and his skin and got into his eye. And you know, I mentioned that they use that like Kodak chemical as part of the blood solution, so it got in his eye and actually blinded him for like 6 months.
Worth it.
Yeah. That's what Sean. That's what Sean Cunningham said. He's like, movie making.
Jeez.
Like he's fine now. We can say it. It's okay.
It's been 22 and a half years. It's fine to make jokes about it.
So yeah, Alice is she's going through it right now. She goes back into the cabin she was in, and I do like the fact that like she takes that rope and like ties it to the door. I was like, man, sometimes people just throw shit in front of the door, like and just
she
like
does that too.
She literally does.
Yeah,
she does do that, but she does
only
the
to go
rope
back
thing too.
and move all the shit that she just threw in front of the door to go back outside. So
I was giving her some sort of credit, and you guys are just like, she's stupid.
This part, okay. I like the tying the knob with the rope. That's a clever idea. The rest of this doesn't make sense because the door opens the other way.
Exactly what I was going to say. It's like, these are the people who throw things in front of the door and the door opens out. Well, this didn't work.
I'll never get me in here.
This is one thing. This is probably my biggest grievance with this film. Is I know some people say there's a lot of pandering shots. Like some shots just stay too long, and I'm not going to disagree with that. I don't think that there's too many like super egregious ones in my opinion, except this one. This one just goes for fucking ever. Like, what do you do? Just keep throwing stuff. Just find stuff. Here's a chair there. There's this there. Just put it in front of the door. It'll be fine. Just keep going. Put it in front of the door. Like, what? Why? Just cut it down. Like, she tied the door. That's good. That's fine. I don't know. Is that too much to ask?
Yeah, there's a couple moments in this movie where it's like, okay, do we really need to watch her make coffee?
That too,
do
yeah.
We need this 5-minute scene of
instant coffee.
When she puts the cups on the stove, though, as close to the fire as it was, because it was a gas stove, they would have exploded before she even got to him.
That's just technicality.
It's
I agree.
I mean, literally, she like almost sets them right on top of it, or she would have burned her hand.
Yeah,
it would be cool if she put like the powdered coffee creamer, and like the whole place just would have just lit up.
This movie does lack in explosions. That's a true statement. So
the thing I love the most about Part 7 is that ending explosion. Friday the 13th, they know how to do explosions. They've done it before, just not in good versions of the movie. So we do get though Brenda's body getting thrown through the window, and it's actually Tom Savini in a wig, which I love.
You ready, Tom? Absolutely.
Is that real glass? No.
Absolutely.
They
throw up the wrong pane of glass.
This is when you're screaming at the TV again for Alice to fucking move, because she's just like, she's slowly like trying to make her way around the body, and I'm like, move your ass, get out of there, what are you doing? She sees Steve Jeep coming, or at least she thinks it's Steve's Jeep, and this is when she meets Mrs. Voorhees, and she's like, hi, I'm Mrs. Voorhees, I was a friend of the Christies. And she's like, oh, thank God
for this movie. So
yeah, this is the actual car I got the money for to fix, because that's the only reason why Betsy Palmer took this role. So she comforts her. They go into the cabin. She sees the dead body, and she's like, oh my God, who would have done such a thing? And then she tells her the story of Jason and how their camp counselors weren't paying attention. They were off, sexing it up, and they weren't paying attention. He wasn't a very good swimmer. And here's the thing about Jason, and like, why did they have to make him like a mongoloid? Why did they have to make him this mutant creature?
Why do you send your kid to a summer camp on a lake if he can't swim?
That's another question. Like, what are we doing here?
Sorry, I believe that's called a cleft palate, not a mongol.
That's not a cleft palate, dude. Come on.
No, it's not.
This is Toxie before he fully evolves, man. This dude's eye is in his cheek, and his other one is in his forehead. What are you talking about?
He's sloth, man.
He is.
Before he reaches final form. This isn't even my final form.
Would you prefer he just spring out of the lake looking like Brad Pitt? Or
No. It could just be a kid, but I think the fact that they made him look like that, it's just like, just Brad Pitt. I mean, Brad Pitt was probably that age at that time.
See, throw him in a lake. Let's see what happens.
I always see how talented of an actor he is.
Can you swim, Pitt?
No.
It's all that toxic waste dumping. It just
New Jersey, so I apologize to all of our New Jersey listeners, if we even have any. So
we have
not anymore.
Oh man. You then hear like the faint like yells of Jason calling for help, which I guess is the voice you hear earlier, that the voice that Brenda hears. is supposed to be Jason, but I'm like, why is Brenda hearing this when it's supposed the whole time it's supposed to be that Pamela is hearing voices, like she hears the voice of her dead son. So why would, unless it's just Pamela in the woods just going, help me, which I'm guessing that was the case.
I assumed it was her.
I don't know. What do you guys think?
But
I
he
never
wanted to
put
be.
that much thought into it.
I would have thought.
Well,
Pamela.
you need to put more thought into it right now, John. I need to know your thoughts.
I think when you think about Friday the 13th movies too hard, that's when they get ruined. So
That's fair. And plus, he'd be like a burly mountain man. He'd look like one of the Wyatts from WWE. Like that's what he.
like the Bushwhackers.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, or I don't know, somebody else, but Gruff Mountain Man. But he would be like of that because
he becomes that in the sequels.
But that's not overnight. Like this.
Oh,
this
I know.
Is a direct follow. He would.
He snapped and that's it.
I don't know. Maybe he's like really good at manipulating his voice as like this burly mountain man with a potato sack on his head. Maybe when he takes the sack off,
with
he's got, like,
only
an
one
angelic
eye
voice.
cut out. I don't understand, but we'll get to that when we talk about part 2.
The sack filters his voice somehow.
It does.
Maybe that's why he
Holy
doesn't
shit.
talk.
He
gonna
gets
sing
kicked in
them.
the balls a lot. Maybe he just permanently got, higher pitch.
Maybe that's why he doesn't. Maybe that's why he doesn't talk. Like people make fun of the way he talks, but he's got the voice of an angel. Like if he sings.
Maybe.
all
But yeah, she, tells the story, but then she also tells her that, today's his birthday. You're like, okay, cool. And then she goes after Alice. And you're like, well, she's clearly the killer. Oh shit. Crazy twist.
What if it was unrelated? What if you found out like the twist was actually she had nothing to do with it?
She just wanted
and it was
to
actually
Alice.
somebody. Yeah, but there was just like she just showed up and like she's like intoxicated and like a bender because it's her kid's like birthday. But like it was all somebody else the whole time.
And the end of the movie is just the dude in the woods going, oh, thank God for that Pamela. She's crazy. And he just wanders off and that's the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Got away with it.
I'll get more next year.
He's the
just walks off.
Camp Crystal Lake Ripper.
Nope. Pretty much.
So
quite the plot twist. So.
This is when Alice is just like screaming and running through all of the different parts of the camp, and she finds all the different bodies. She finds Annie, Steve. Then you get to see Pamela, talking like Jason. She's like, "Kill her, mommy, kill her," and they always have to zoom in on Betsy Palmer's teeth, and I'm like, please stop.
That's what I want to do on our podcast, please.
No.
And it's not once; it's like 3 times that we have to see like real close on her teeth. Like,
you did know she was talking. You'll know now.
Oh, my favorite though is they're in the barn and they're wrestling and fighting and all that, and she just gets cooch punched, man. God, just falls into this. She gets knocked out like 4 times in this fight.
Cooch punched.
Listen, that hurts. I've not gotten cooch punched, but I have fallen on a guy's bike. It hurts.
Oh God!
You guys think that you have problems getting hit in the junk? Ladies have it too.
Your stuff is mostly unshielded, though.
Oh God!
There's a lot of nerves down there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I get it.
But yeah, she gets the greatest thing. It's like a boss. It's like a boss battle at the end of a video game. There's like stages to
cooch punch the boss.
Yeah, you have. There's definitely a boss in some game that you've had to do that. You just fucking roundhouse kick him.
Uppercut.
Don't do it too
Do
hard.
the Johnny Cage move. Oh my God. And yeah, she just keeps getting knocked out like every time they fight. It's like she just gets hit with something. She's down for about 15 seconds and she's back up again. Then we get the final showdown on the beach of the lake.
What's dumb about that is she's down for like 15 seconds after trying to kill Alice, and Alice just stares at her like maybe she's done now. And then she gets up and she's like, "Oh shit, she's back!" Like,
I know this is before it, but I wish she just sat up like the Undertaker.
Yeah. Well, people wouldn't have said the Undertaker because the Undertaker is definitely it's I feel like an homage to Michael Myers in the original Halloween because that's how he gets up in that final scene.
I assume that's why he wrestled that kid in Halloween Ends.
You just need the GTA. I never want to talk about that movie again. We get the slow-mo decapitation, which is it's great, but it's also hilarious. One swipe God
takes.
damn, that's a sharp machete. Also, it's that Tasso guy's hands as he's coming up. Those big fat man fingers.
My favorite part's the toothpicks on the back. So,
Yeah.
Oh yes, yeah.
Well, so the pretty much what it was the guy was like bent over and the cast it was like her shoulders and her head were like on his shoulders, and then so it was like his hands, but he was like crouched over like this. Effects in the 80s, man. Fucking love it. Especially Tom Savini effects.
Shit.
So what do you do after you defeat somebody, that final boss, instead of like, going, to the road, maybe going somewhere? No, let's push the canoe. We're going to go out to the middle of the lake and we're just going to take a nap. All right. Sounds like a wise plan. Sounds like exactly what I would do.
At least she didn't grab her head and go, I defeated her.
Oh my God.
There can only be one.
Are you not entertained?
Yes, thank you.
Didn't we just cover a movie where somebody was like fucking around with a decapitated head? Can't remember. I can't even remember.
I just recently
I don't even remember
watched-
what movies we covered in the last like month.
No, I recently watched Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief, and they carry Medusa's head around.
Oh yeah.
But it's like, yeah,
I don't remember, but there was a movie we covered that had that same like shot.
Probably. Dude.
But
we talked about mummies last month.
Oh,
did we do something with mummy heads? Did that happen? I don't know.
I had to erase that Tom Cruise one out of my brain.
So he gets tickled. Tickled by tickled. Nobody's gonna get that reference.
I love the music that plays though as she's floating in the canoe. It sounds like fucking music from like a soap opera. Like as the cops pull up, it's like, I'm like, what is happening? What movie am I watching? As the cops are just on the bank with their arms on their hips, like, what are you doing out there? And she just wakes up.
Questions for you.
The funny thing is I don't feel that when they told her to like react like there's cops on the bank, because they're clearly not there at the same time, that she just wakes up like she just had a great nap. She's like, and then of course Zombie Boy Jason
her hands
comes
in the
she's like
her
touching
hands
the
in
water. Like you would think that she would be reacting like, hey, but instead she's like, I'm gonna touch the water a little bit, stretch it out. And then Zombie Boy Jason comes out. You get that final jump scare, which I guess was originally not going to be in the movie, but Paramount was like, we need something. We need that Carrie ending. That was literally what they told him. So they went back and filmed this ending with Zombie Boy Jason. But then you find out it was all a dream. And she asks about Jason. Did they find the boy? What boy? There's no boy. And then it ends.
There's never been a boy. There wasn't a camp.
And you'll get the same ending in 4 straight Friday the 13th.
3.
Yeah, pretty much.
3. Okay. 3. Yeah. Okay. Just the first 3. But it's the same.
Well the first
ending.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there it is.
There it is. Pamela comes out of the water to high five her.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, let's go around and talk about our final thoughts on Friday the 13th. Who wants to start? Sean? John?
Go for it, Sean.
No.
It got really quiet all of a sudden.
Yeah. You could hear a pin drop.
Told.
I don't know what's there to say. What's there to say? I mean, I think that this movie's kind of cool in the fact that it I don't know how many slasher movies kind of portrayed the killer as being first person up until this point, but it seems like a real, huge trope in slashers after the fact, where they just constantly, there's so many things that have been borrowed from this movie, even up to the end, to the jump scare at the end, to show you, oh, hey, this thing still happens. And at the end, at the very end, when they focus in on the water and it's just the water after the whole out of the boat thing, you almost expect that it's going to happen again. Like his hand's going to pop out of the water. Something's going to happen to kind of be like, this isn't the end of this story. There's more to come after this. So yeah, this is like, it ranks up there with movies like Halloween, like the original Nightmare. They're just iconic movies. Even though this one doesn't have Jason, it obviously has enough staying power that it just pushed that whole thing. We get all this huge franchise, one of the probably biggest franchises, arguably, out of the I mean, I think the three major ones are Nightmare, not in any order, John, so don't be offended. Nightmare, Friday the 13th, and Halloween are like the three big ones. You know, if you had a Mount Rushmore, those three heads are going, those three monsters, those three bad guys are going up on that thing. I don't think you're going to see Pamela Voorhees on there, but you're going to see Jason this launch that ship. So, I mean, I think it's a classic movie. Even if it's not the first one that you watched, when you watch it, you're like, oh, okay, I get why this is so big. I get why this launched this franchise.
What's your favorite kill?
Pamela. It's hilarious. And I love that whole thing where with Alice, she is so brutal to everybody else, right? She stabs the arrow through Bacon's neck. She, stabs all these people, shoots somebody full of arrows. And with Alice, she's just slapping her around a little bit. Hey,
that
the
scene where she is just full force slapping her around. You're like, holy shit.
But she could have totally just wiped her out if she does whatever to all these other people. So, I mean, but when she gets hers, I think it's just hilarious. The whole thing is just silly, ridiculous. Friday the 13th machetes are the sharpest machetes ever. If I go to Home Depot, I can't even cut like a weed with this thing in my yard. I'm like whacking at it. Nothing's happening. But, you just touch somebody with it and their arm falls off or some shit.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
John?
I'll always wish I could have seen this movie without knowing how it ends. Like, if I could see this one time without knowing that Jason's going to pop out of the lake, I would have loved that, but I'm never going to get that, but that's okay. I mean, at the end of the day, this is kind of right in the wheelhouse of slasher movies specifically that I like. It's got that early 80s grimy gnarliness to it. It's got Savini effects, which is always a huge plus for me. The characters, for the most part, they're likable enough and you don't feel bad when they die. And sometimes when they die, you feel pretty good about it. They all, this lays the groundwork. Halloween laid the groundwork for this, but this lays the groundwork for the 80s slasher craze. Like, it's low budget, low story, lots of kills, a tit here or there, and leave it
Just
open
one.
for more. Yeah, just one. It's not my favorite in the series by any. It's kind of right in the middle in the series, but it's still such a solid movie. And I can't imagine the horror genre as a whole without it. So.
Fun fact, I hear the phrase tit for tat actually came from this movie.
Tit for tat. Yes,
baby. I just assumed party tit.
Tit?
Just one.
I would like when a movie's tit count ends in an odd number. I think it's exciting.
Total Recall.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was about to say,
for a whole different reason, though.
Mm-hmm.
It's still an odd number.
Yeah,
it's true.
What's your favorite kill, John?
Probably Mercy. That axe to the face looks so gnarly every time, and I know how they did it, and the whole reverse angle and all that. It's great. It's well done, and it just is gnarly in the way they have the axe hit the light in that scene to just kind of add a little oomph to it, even though it doesn't really do anything. That's my favorite kill in the movie.
Yeah.
I have two things before what?
Keep going.
You need to stop asking what to him. You just need to
go. I've been married to him long enough that I should know, but you guys can't see him looking at me. He's like, stop looking at me like that. I understand what you're doing.
I how he goes out of frame with a camera to do it.
Yeah. So. He doesn't want you guys to see.
Dan doesn't know how to be on camera. He's really bad at it.
I am.
Or being close to a microphone.
Anyway,
that is true.
Stop it. Betsy Palmer was born in 1926.
She's 25, yeah.
So if that tells you how old she was, she did not look her age. She looked amazing for being in this movie at her age. I gotta just saying.
What was she pushing 60?
She had to have been. She didn't look it.
You say 30? Did you say 38? Yeah.
She's 25, remember? 25.
Fuck my already fucked up brain, okay?
Come on.
Wait a second.
And the chemical that they used was Kodak Photo Flow.
Mm-hmm.
I had to look it up because I'm the photography person. I have to look that shit up. This always holds a special place always the first movies in a series hold that special place for me. It may not be the best, but it's always what starts my love for something. And I love, I mean, I have here, there. I didn't bring the perler in like I did this morning, but I have.
Do you have one?
I do. It's in my box.
I couldn't remember.
It's out there. I'm sad that I forgot about it. But yeah, I quite enjoy this. Even though it may not be the best in the series, it's still always that. It always is like out here compared to the rest.
What's your favorite kill?
It's kind of like how we do with Godzilla. Like the original.
Yeah,
is
it's
on a
always
flip. Like here's Godzilla,
Yep.
and like here's the rest of the movies.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's always there.
What's your favorite kill?
Is it the first girl that gets the neck? She gets her neck sliced.
Annie.
And her neck does not match any of the rest of her
the skin tone. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, it's
Like gray.
Yeah. I mean, I love most of the kills in this, but that is like, that's wrong.
1980. Give you a pass.
I mean, yeah,
Still looks good.
whatever.
All right, Dan, it's your turn.
My turn. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm back. Hello. I like this movie. I think I like the last time we talked about it. I know I watched it. Maybe I just didn't fairly judge it because, like, I think it's a little bit better than probably whatever rating I gave it when we did our list, which I don't remember what the fuck that was. It's not that important, but it was fine. Like I said, there were a few spots that dragged. Don't look it up, please, God. Don't look it up.
I'm looking it up.
Oh fuck.
We have our two.
Keep talking.
So yeah, we got some autographs back.
We're gonna be re-ranking this series anyways. So
fair enough. I'll watch them all again. Can't stop me. I think it's fun. It's a fun movie. It's fine. I think it drags a little bit, but like it's got that charm to it. Like we talked about, it being a low budget movie from the early '80s. Yeah, I don't think I can say anything else that anybody else has pointed out for this film. Yeah, I think it's definitely worth watching, even knowing like the twist. Like everybody knows it, whether you watch it or not. Actually, my son didn't know that. He watched since we said he watched it with us. We didn't spoil it for him. And I was like, I kept pointing at things like, hey, the dude, he's got a fucking Jeep. Like, maybe it's him. He's like, yeah, maybe it is.
But right at the end, he's like on his phone trying to show Dan what game he's playing. And Dan's like, you better watch this. Like, dude.
Because he watched all of it until like the very fucking end. I was like, dude, you're killing me, dude. Like, he's really going to watch movies. Like, you're fucking killing me. This is the important part. There's 2 in the end of this fucking movie. It's like beating my... I didn't know I don't do that. But anyway, yeah, he was like, did you expect it to be her? He's like, no. I was like, I don't know. He's like, I don't know who she is. I was like, good. No, we kind of explained it. But anyway, but it's fun. It's fun. It's fine. It's a good movie. And like you said, it's a good starting point, like you said. Good times.
What's your favorite kill?
I don't remember the character's name. It's the fucker that got pinned to the door.
Oh, Bill.
Bill, yeah. Fuck him.
Yeah, his kill.
Billy?
Even though it's nice, fuck him.
That was cool.
No, he's good. Fuck all these guys.
His kill, I mean, his kill was cool. I mean,
because you don't like...
The issue with this movie was that you don't really get to see many of the kills. Like Marcy, you get to see Marcy's, you get to see Annie's, and then you see Mrs. Voorhees. Everybody else's is off camera,
which sucks because this.
Oh yeah, and Kevin Bacon. How did I forget that one?
This is unfortunately like the heyday to do that kind of stuff. Is what sucks. Before the MPA like dicked this series so bad later.
Oh yeah,
and like this would be the time to like really run with it, but. You know, I think there's a lot of good kills, but
they also didn't have the budget that they had in those later movies that the
True.
MPA destroyed. And this movie still operates in the less is more ideal, where you don't see Pamela, you don't see all that stuff until they start literally throwing bodies at Alice at the end, and you just see the aftermath. So
I do have to throw in that this is the second movie that came out in 1980 that would have a scene where the villain breaks a door and then looks through a crack of the door at the person they want to kill. The other being The Shining, if you didn't know.
Johnny. Yep.
I was waiting for something. I wanted her to say something, but she doesn't say anything. Oh, man. I forgot to mention the fact that this had a budget of $550,000 and it made $59.8 million. So it did pretty well.
Yeah. Oh yeah, just a little.
As for me, after this most recent rewatch, I have a more appreciation for it in what they were able to do with this movie, and I think this is a great movie to put in its out on its own. Like if you just kind of ignore the fact that there's 11 other movies that coincide, I think it's a very good slasher. I like the story, the fact that it's this grieving mother who is kind of lost her mind and she is seeking revenge for her son's death and everything that kind of goes with that. The kills are cool. The characters aren't all just absolutely awful. Like Ned is my least favorite character because he sucks, but everybody else is just kind of your typical teenager character where it's like you don't love them, but you also don't hate them. Where there are some movies later on in this franchise that are just like, oh, everyone here is the worst. Like you're just rooting for Jason to just annihilate everybody. But this movie is like you kind of feel bad. Like I felt bad when Bill dies. Like I liked Bill. Brenda wasn't even that bad of a character. Like the characters aren't terrible people except for Ned. So I thought it was a cool twist. I've always loved the twist of it being Pamela Voorhees because you never know, you've never seen her before. You don't know the story about Jason up until she tells the story about Jason. And the fact that this movie was made for like pretty much nothing, and it turned out so well. I don't know. I have grown to appreciate it a lot more than I think I have in the past. In our former ranking, we had it at number 7, between Jason X and Friday Part 7. That's where it was in our last ranking. But we're going to re-rank them. And we've already covered 2 movies in the franchise. One of them wasn't part of the franchise, but it's got Jason in it, so we got to count it. Our first Friday the 13th that we covered... Shut up! Last year, for the first Friday the 13th, we covered Freddy vs. Jason. And then for the second one, we covered the remake from 2009. Yes. So now we're going to rank them. Is Friday the 13th, 2009 better than Freddy vs. Jason?
God, yes.
Okay, you guys can join in too. You guys can be part
please.
of this vote. I'm going to say yes.
Yeah, I like it better than Freddy vs. Jason for sure.
Yeah. I love Freddy vs. Jason. I think it's a fun movie, but it's not a Jason movie. Like Jason is kind of just, he's very minimal in it. It's a Freddy movie with Jason just being there. So Friday, the remake is just, I love the Friday remake. I think it's so much fun. Jason is terrifying. It's a great time. So
it's my second favorite Jason in the series.
It's really good, Jason.
So now,
and Kane Hodder is not number 1 for whoever's thinking that. So he's not even in the top 3 for me.
That's fair. That's fair.
I'm done. Bye.
Bye.
I love Kane Hodder.
I like Kane Hodder, the actor, but I can't make him my favorite Jason when, my least favorite Jason movies, he's Jason in almost all of them.
That's fair.
I just thoroughly enjoy the way he portrays.
No, he's
Jason.
The best part of those movies.
He is the best part of those movies. I'll agree with that.
Just the mannerisms that he does, the random stop and turn, and
when we get done with this, I need to ask this, John. When we're done recording, I needed to know what your favorite are. So.
Oh, my favorite? I'll tell you now. It's Ted White, by far.
He was 4?
3?
He's 4.
Okay.
And then was it Richard Brooker? I think is his name. The Part 3 is my second favorite. Or it's between him and Derek Mears, depending on the day.
I did not like that Jason when we did that episode back then. I thought he was just.
You think about it though. Part 3 is where Jason becomes the Jason that you know and everyone knows from that point forward. And then Part 4 is where it kind of solidifies all that and takes it to the more extreme parts of Jason. Yeah. So
I'll always make fun of his walk away as he kills the girl with the harpoon in the lake and then just casually walks away.
And the fact that and the fact that somebody's like, you know what? I know how we can deepen this character. Let's make him a rapist. I'm like,
yeah, I'm not
it's going
sure what
to
that
go.
part's about, but
Yeah, that was so fucking weird.
Oh,
Anyway,
okay.
carry on.
Is Friday the 13th, the original, better than Friday the 13th, the remake? I'm going to say no.
God,
I would rather
I
watch
say
the
yes, but
remake.
by the slimmest of margins. And it's because when I like, if I were to rank this entire franchise, the remake and one would be right next to each other. And I'd say one because it's a 1980s like grimy movie. 2009 is a great movie and it's arguably a better movie, but it's a 2009 movie that looks like it was shot in 2009. I'm always going to want the movie that looks like it came from 1980 over the movie that comes from 2009.
Okay.
God, I don't know. That's
I
tough.
get that. They're
They are right. They are neck and neck with each other, though.
What about you, Sean?
That's tough, man. I was hoping you were going to ask. I mean, I think that this one, like the 1980, is kind of has like the vibes of stuff that I like more. You know, it has almost like it's borderline Grindhouse, not quite Grindhouse, but like John's saying, it's really grimy, dirty, just real low budget. Did a lot with a little.
Mm-hmm.
They're both really good, and I really do like the remake quite a bit. But shit, I think I think just for nostalgia, I'd probably have to put the first above. But like John said, like everybody's saying, pretty much just really slim. They're really close.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do the not calling anybody else here that, but I'm gonna do the boomer shit and be like, yeah, I like the older one, fucking better, because but it's just
okay,
it feels
boomer.
what now?
Okay, boomer.
I know it just feels like you said, 2009 just feels like a 2009 Hollywood production. This just feels like, again, it's still a Hollywood production, but it was just a smaller group of people just trying to make a fucking movie, and it just feels maybe more genuine. Not saying that these other people weren't trying hard, doing hard, working hard, and all that fun shit, but I don't know. I'm gonna go with the older one, just again by a small margin, because I think that really the remake pushes more for me, because you do get just a little bit of the whole Pamela Voorhees stuff at the beginning, but then you actually have like, you know, Jason Voorhees in a CW movie.
The remake's interesting. The remake really tries to shoehorn like the first 4 movies into one movie. Like if you really watch it, like they try to like cram as much of those first 4 movies minus the 3D gimmick into 1 hour and a half film, and for the most part they do pretty good with it. But at the same time, those were 4 movies debatably for a reason. Like I guess you could have made one, you know, 2-hour long kill fest and call it a movie, but that's not what they did. So,
well, the remake too gets the benefit of saying, yeah, we've already got these 4 movies we can base this thing off of.
Yeah,
you know, if they try to sum up those 4 movies, they have all those ideas, and they're like, they can take the best of whatever they want, because it's not like they're building as they go. It's like, no, we've already got this framework, we can just slop this stuff onto it, and it's like, this is the thing. Not as a bad thing, just that, you know, they've got a lot more material to work with, whereas those movies, when they first originally came out, that's all original idea. Well, you know, as close as to original as it can be.
Right. But you don't get a line in the original where Kevin Bacon is looking at Marcy going, your tits are stupendous.
Yep. There's nothing wrong with complimenting a lady.
Best line in the series. I don't know what you guys are talking about. But no, I mean, I agree. I agree with everybody's points. It's just one of those things, like, what, for me, when I'm ranking something, it's like, what one would I rather watch? And I think the remake is one I'd rather go back to, because I think it's more because of the Jason aspect of it. Yeah, most of the characters in the remake are just awful, and you're like rooting for them to die. Where this one, like I mentioned before, is just like the characters are not as shitty. But I think Jason is just absolutely terrifying in that remake, and he's just so much fun to watch. Just, you know, he's not the typical Jason we've seen over the course of 40 years. He's a mountain man, just protecting his home.
She nailed it. The problem with the remake is the reason it didn't get pushed over the original is that he doesn't ice a fucking disabled kid in a wheelchair, and they fucking hold that shot. Nobody does it.
He doesn't just ice him in a wheelchair. They also throw him down like the non-existent hill stairs that never shows up at this camp ever again. So,
yeah, 100%.
Yep.
And to go back to the
Or
beginning
Mark.
of this whole thing, that was the one that I saw first. I can remember seeing
Part
that
two?
scene. That
Part
stuck
two?
out in my mind so long, of that dude
Yeah.
getting that axe in his head and just rolling backwards down those stairs.
I laughed so hard when I
You know
seen
what?
that. Holy fuck, dude! It
You know
was
what?
so
Fuck
good.
Mark and everyone who looks like Mark. He needs that meat cleaver in the face. So
Like, we believe in equality.
It's for everybody. It's fucking kill everybody, dude.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess the rankings of the only ones we've covered, we have number 1, the original from 1980. The number 2 is the remake, and the number 3 is Freddy versus Jason. All right, now we're gonna go to social media and see what you all had to say about Friday the 13th. We got a couple responses. One we got from DEWEY PodMonster, and
Never
it
heard
just
of
says
him.
that they're
I have
preparing
no
at a
idea
bar
what that is.
currently, and it's just a gif of Pamela slapping the shit out of Dallas.
Okay.
We have at Stu World Order Productions, or SWO Productions, says most of the sequels are better. All right, we agree to a degree.
I just like Jason, dude. I just want Jason.
And then at J Master King 1 says 3 things I'll say. I love this movie. Did anyone else hear about the Friday the 13th Jason universe thing?
I don't know anything about
I
that.
didn't know that until John mentioned it earlier in
Yep.
the episode. And since
it's
New Line
basically
rarely
what
uses
they're doing in well, when they canned the A24 Peacock series, they came out and said they're going to do this, and it basically looks like they're going to do games and other shit that apparently
okay.
falls under different licensing agreements than what Sean Cunningham can sue them for.
Fair enough.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And he continues saying, and since New Line rarely uses Jason, they should give the rights back to Paramount or let someone else have the rights. Yeah, I kind of agree. Because once it went to Paramount, they couldn't use the Friday the 13th name, right? Well, they used it for the remake.
Well, they used it for the remake,
but
and
wasn't Paramount part of that though? Wasn't that the reason they were able to use
sure
the
they
name?
were.
Yeah,
I'm sure they were. They paid for it, but they called Jason Goes to Hell the final Friday. Well, yeah, I guess it's not Friday the 13th,
Yeah.
but I'd be all for him giving the rights to someone else as long as it's not A24, which is where it's probably going to end up. So
that's where everything ends up.
Yeah.
Over on Instagram, we have a few. We have one from Big Optimus 33 says, I really enjoy the Freddy franchise. I like 1 through 7 and Jason X the most. Oh, it's like they skipped another one. Jason. Oh wait, he continues by saying Jason Takes Manhattan and Jason Goes to Hell are my bottom 2.
But he punches the guy's head off. Julius. Right? That's his name? I'm pretty sure.
I think so, yeah.
And the other one has a
Julian,
has a demon worm going up a girl's hoo-ha.
There's some hoo-ha. That's
and
true.
Leslie Jordan's there.
And Jason's a black guy for a little while. Again,
yeah, equality.
It's true. It's equality, 100%, dude. And he kills his own suit actor in the movie.
He does.
He kills himself.
Well, he also saw that awful rat tail that he was wearing. He was like, oh, gotta kill him.
God, dude. Holy fuck. Dude, I still see people with that here. And like where we live, dude. You like little kids with rat tails, like, oh God, where am I?
And they're like halfway down their back. It's like,
I mean, mullets are one of the most popular hairstyles now. 2024.
Dude,
all right.
This one, dude, I had a guy that worked with us. He fucking came in looking like Billy Ray Cyrus. I was going to fire his ass. I'm like, I fucking boot scoot your ass out the door. I'm serious. It's fucking ridiculous.
Get down, turn around, and get out of the door.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Oh, God.
Listen, you can wear them if you want. It's just, I'm not fond of it, all right? This is America. Do what you got to do.
This is America.
That's right.
Lord. It's all going to be in flames soon. We have one from Video Villa Entertainment who says, I just rewatched the whole franchise this past week. Part 1 and Part 4 are still fire. And we got one from Steven Spoils who says, my love for this movie is unapologetic. Treat it well. And hopefully we did. I think we were pretty nice to it. Tammy Quad Pro Quo says, we are doing a revenge themed month, and this popped into my head as a potential. Thoughts on the first one? Well, hopefully the episode will let you know what we thought about it. So there you go, Tammy.
There you go.
And I think that's it. I don't think we got anything over on Threads. Let me just double check, but I don't think so. Yeah, I'm not.
Don't do Jaws the Revenge, though.
No,
Don't
Jaws
do
the
that
Revenge.
movie.
Do that movie. Do that.
All
I have one from.
Cruel
Oh,
Jaws.
wait, hang on.
I have one on Twitter from
Go for it.
Johnny Browning.
Oh,
He says, haha, good movie.
Ha, good movie. Was that? I'm confused.
That's it.
what did
All
we
right.
say something before it? Did we talk
No.
shit?
Oh,
He just says, haha, good movie.
Well, he enjoys it. That's good. He's laughing in a joyous way. He's like, I give a shit.
He must
haha,
understand.
suckers.
Haha.
All right. Well, next week we're back talking about more Ghostbusters, as we're going to be talking about 1989's Ghostbusters 2. I'm very excited to talk about the drastic differences that they had to do in that movie and why Bill Murray was an asshole for the whole production. It's going to be a great time.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm very excited. And we have our good friend Dustin from the Flicks and Friends podcast coming back to hang out with us for that one. So stay tuned.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Now it is time for our friends from Dewey Podmonster to sell their show and tell us where people can find them and their amazing content. So, John, I'm guessing you're the one for that. Sean, maybe Sean wants to take it away. I don't know.
I feel that.
So, since Sean doesn't want to show us, I guess I will. So all of our episodes are available on our site, which is crap.town. You can also find us on the You Run Podcast Network site, which is at yourunpodcast.com. And if you want to follow us on social media, you're pretty much going to be talking to me, but you can do that at Dewey Podmonster on any social media outlet. We're mostly on X and Instagram, more so Instagram because X has been pissing me off lately. Yeah, if there's a social media, we're probably on there, and eventually I'll respond to you in some way, more than likely. So those are the best ways to find us. So,
and Sean, you want to talk about draft therapy?
All right, yeah. So I do this craft beer channel. I used to. I don't do it much anymore. But yeah, if you want to find out anything about that, it's youtube.drafttherapy.com or on social media networks at Draft Therapy.
Yeah, all the links for Dewey Podmonster and Draft Therapy will be down in the description. So make sure to follow these fine gentlemen. Their show is amazing, and you're gonna have a great time. It's literally just it's a podcast where two guys are just literally having just great conversations about either a movie, what they've been watching. It's a great time. I listen to them every single week. It is a must listen. So yeah, please check them out. And we're also gonna have the You Run podcast website down there too, because there's a lot of other great podcasts on that network. So make sure to check that out. As for us, you can follow us on all the social media apps. Make sure to do that so that you can participate in those things that we post, where I post what movie we're covering and you guys can respond with your stories on the movie. You can support us financially over at patreon.com/dissectthatfilm, where for a single $1 you can get episodes early, you can get blooper reels, you can get access to polls for whatever movie we're going to cover at the end of the month. And at the $3 tier, you can get access to our Patreon exclusive show called The Monster Zone, where once a month we spin a wheel and talk about a monster movie. And for September, we don't have a movie yet because we're behind recording. So
that'll be great.
Throw in a voiceover right here. For September, we are recording an episode on The Deadly Mantis from 1957. What we're doing. But you can also join for free, where the free members also can get access to those polls and kind of any of the news that we're going to be putting out. So if you can do that, we appreciate it. Patreon.com/dissectthatfilm. If you can't do that, make sure to go to your favorite podcast app of choice and leave us 5 stars. It helps the show out, gets us into more people's ears. And it just makes me feel good, to see the more of the 5 stars on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Good Pods. I guess people still use that one. And I think that's it. Do I have anything else? What I usually talk about here? I don't know. Oh yeah, I thank our patrons.
Yeah, there you go. That's
thank you to Billy Joseph Jr., Corey Morissette, Andrew Schoening, Jason, Dustin from the Flicks and Friends podcast, Daniel Collins, Dan and Angela of DNA Gaming, Doom Generation, Eric Stein, Robert Stewart, Rudy5453, the Barron's Hideout podcast, Paul Jansen, Dennis, Charles, Bucket of Chum, Official Joey C, and Movie Fanatic. Thank you so much for supporting us on Patreon. We appreciate you very much. And thank you to everybody for listening. Thank you again to John and Sean of Dewey Podmonster for being here. It has been an absolute honor having you guys on, and we can't wait to get you back on the show because this was a blast.
Yes.
Thanks for having us.
Anytime.
Yes, Thank you, guys. It was a pleasure.
And I probably forgot to say something, but you know what? Fuck it. Until next time, I am Brett Parker. That is Dan and Angela of DNA Gaming. And that is John and Sean of DEWEY PodMonster. And this has been another episode of Dissect That Film. We'll see you all again next time. Bye-bye.